from the Export Beer Garden Studios. This is the Champagne Rugby Podcast, brought to you by MAXRaft. Fitted insulated concrete slabs nationwide, the first step to a warm, comfortable, healthy home. And McOnie, MAXRaft, giving you the chance to head to your team's next home game. Just text HEAT and your Super Rugby team to 3236 to be in to win a double pass to your next team's home match. James McOnie, talk to me about blowouts.
Well, blowies are few and far between apparently when you get married.
Birthdays and anniversaries.
Okay,
yeah.
So is that written into some sort of contract? Like when you sign your registry, or whatever register?
It's like it's actually part of the vows now. Till death do us part.
Having to blow.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. On anniversaries and now a lot of people change their anniversaries or birthdays.
Okay.
So because I know a few people who are getting married the day after their birthday, so they could just get a double banger.
Oh,
and that's
I'd want it spaced apart if it's that few and far between.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, just 6 months.
Yeah,
6 monthly.
So the blowouts in rugby this weekend, look, I actually felt, I think we've talked about this before, G Lane, the blowouts in league a couple of years ago were terrible for the NRL.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they bring the Dolphins in, changes the whole ecosystem, as Dolphins do, and they come in clicking away and taking players, and then all of a sudden it evens it all out and you get fewer blowouts, whereas Super Rugby has this issue where teams, particularly Aussie teams on the road, are absolute dog shite.
Why are Aussie teams on the road such dog shite?
Well, I know the Reds were great this weekend, but let's talk about the Tars and the Force. There was no way, even from the first 5 minutes of the game, that they were in it. Yeah, and that's what must kill you if you're really a hard-out Tars and Force fan, you probably just switch off, like, they're on the road, fuck it.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like Indian cricket fans. They're on the road. Fuck it.
It is, yeah, I mean...
Because they suck on the road. I only care about when they play in India. So...
do you suck on the road?
Yeah.
You
often.
I've heard that you do. Because if you think about your on-the-road antics of going to games... Yes. You do suck.
I do suck. On the road. I haven't had a lot of luck on the road. But the Western weakness, we call them the Western weakness, I mean, they are quite good at home, though. Because is that because it's so hot? Well, is it like Fiji?
It's because John Mitchell insisted on a normal rectangular stadium or whatever he said. It was like he wanted it because he didn't want to play at Subiaco Oval or whatever. It's like a normal rectangular stadium. Here, the famous press conference where he kept on saying that over and over again. Rectangular stadium. And anyway, they've got that and they do well there. I think, look, there's the heat of Perth. Yeah. There's the travel, I guess, for the teams going over. It always feels like an ambush because you think these guys are going to be shite. I don't recognise any of them. And 3 of you guys played Super Rugby in New Zealand a few years back. So should we be scared? You know, it's a bit like that. Like your cousin, Toby Lynn. I'm sorry, Toby, but I mean, Toby was a very good Super Rugby player. But about 5 years after the Chiefs, he pops up in Perth.
Yeah, he did. He had a great time over there. He loved it.
So not that I want to sort of get into throwing stones at your family, G Lane, but no, Toby was very good. But they do seem to get, like, what would you call it, like waifs and strays, the ragtag team of misfits.
Yeah, a little bit, and people potentially looking just for a bit of a retirement lifestyle change as well. Get out of Kitty-Kitty-Doa and go hang out in Fremantle, which by all accounts is lovely.
Well, that used to be the main destination. All of a sudden it became the GC in Sydney and all that sort of stuff, but I'm pretty sure in the 80s, was it? There was a mass exodus to Perth.
Yeah.
And remember Paul Korteka, who played for Waikato in the front row, like one of the great, the song of the Waikato front row. Can you remember that?
No,
okay.
Can't actually.
Can't you remember that?
Nah.
Oh, there's a song and it goes, up and under, here we go. Are you ready? Yes or no? Up and under, here we go. It's the song of the Waikato front row.
No, that is the first time I've ever heard that.
Oh.
And I'm a born and bred Mulu.
That was massive. That was played on the radio all the time, and that was huge.
On 1ZH?
Well, yeah, 1ZH and Radio Waikato.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Radio Waikato. So, yeah, I've lost my train. Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
So he moved to to Perth and played for a club called Nedlands, which is pretty much like expat Kiwis. And I know that South Africans have since sort of populated Perth, you know, colonised.
Makes sense. They're massive. They love a beach. They love a coastal beach, don't they? In the weekend, club rugby started for kids anyway. In the weekend, two sons playing tackle, daughter playing ripper. It was weigh-in week. You know, you have weigh-in grading. Yeah. So all teams from one grade go to one club, and in this certain grade, we all had to go to East Coast Bays down there in Windsor Park, in East Coast Bays. And I know it's a cliche that we say that South Africans dominate the North Shore. And I tell you what, every second person was talking Afrikaans.
Lekker.
Like they were like this. And my kids were like, what language are they talking? They're so angry. Because they're like, it's quite a harsh Dutch. But it was crazy.
I love their rugby.
It was crazy because I think it was potentially the Mairangi Bay kind of, and all those Silverdalers all came down as well. So there was just crawling with Saffers on that opening weekend. But I digress.
We're still sort of waiting for a South African to turn up and play for New Zealand. We've got Viljoen. There's, we've got lots in cricket. Yeah. And some of them have sort of been South Africans that have moved here. But and obviously in cricket we've also got, the Indian presence of Ish Sodhi, Rachin Ravindra, Jeet Raval. Yeah. They all came through, Jeetan Patel. But it's like in rugby, I know you South Africans are moving here.
Yeah, where are you?
Wouldn't mind having a Peter Steph du Toit.
Yeah.
Little bit of blindside, little bit of something, just a little salt-based sprinkle on our All Blacks. That would be nice.
I don't think it's far away. I think it's potentially 5 or 6 years away.
Okay.
Having looked at the North Shore kind of rugby scene and the kids that are coming through, I reckon that's what we're looking at. There must have been a mass exodus about 10 years ago. For whatever reason. Rightio, shall we look at the weekend's action, James?
Yes, please. We were commentating most of the games.
Yeah.
So do we start off with our commentary? Should we start off with the headlines? The Crusaders lost again.
Yeah, the Crusaders 28, Reds 33. I'll admit I did not see that coming.
I had a feeling that the Reds, you could tell they're good because they fought like hell against the Blues, right? That was a really good game. And they uncovered, weirdly, finally, a new star because you sort of need to have them. And this Tim Ryan, who scored a hat-trick against the Blues, he scored a double against the Crusaders.
Is this the Junkyard Dog?
Junkyard Dog on the wing. Yes, that's his nickname, Junkyard Dog. Although someone said I'd never heard him call him that and gave him another nickname. So you're good when you've got 3 nicknames queued up for you.
Yeah, and I enjoyed Kieran Reid as well. Eye sockets on the missionary coverage. He mentioned the Junkyard Dog and he goes, but he's coming up against our own dog roll and Scott Barrett.
Oh, did he say that?
So that's quite good. Good on your eye sockets, bringing that into play. There's Battle of the Dog Rolls versus the Junkyard Dog.
Well, Junkyard Dog won on the day because Dog Roll got injured early, and that is an absolute dick shrinker in many ways, but mainly because you're losing Dog Roll.
Yeah, so they've got 3 games left in the season. Are they going to make the top 8?
Yeah, I think they can do that. I mean, it's just they've got one that's a real massive, huge game. What is that? Is it? I looked at the draw the other day. I'm going to have to get the old Tribe app out.
I think they play the Blues.
It's the Blues. I think it is the Blues. And that's what is a bit worrying. I think they're still working it out and they needed that win. But sneaking in at 8th was what I always thought they were going to do, and I think it's still on the cards.
That's not great for the Canes, though, is it? No one wants to play the Crusaders in knockout footy, even though they look like they are struggling a little bit.
Oh, they've got to go to the Brumbies as well, mate. So they go down to the Landers, then over to Canberra, and then they come home and have to... Oh, do they get
they got the Blues, yeah.
They got the Blues, and they got the Blues, and then they get Moana Pacifica on the last game, which, interestingly, will be probably a straight shootout for that final position.
Oh, that would be a cracker,
that could be good. That could be really good, because Moana will be like, we can make history here. Let's fucking go kitchen sink.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of... they'll be the must-watch games for the rest of the season, Crusaders.
Yep. And the next game up was, and we can talk about this, played out there in Tonga. was the Landers versus Moana Pacifica. Landers took them out 28-17. Not really home ground advantage, though, for Moana, given that most of their squad had never been to Tonga before.
No, this is the whole thing. It's and I did notice that they kept as many Tongans in the team starting lineup. A little bit how you sort of, you got the prince and princess watching, so you got the royal family there, and they're like, where my Tongans at? And the Highlanders, of course, got Folau Fakatava, and there's another Tongan in their lineup. I forget his name off the top of my head, but then on the Moana side, they've got the Anisi brothers from North Harbour, Sione Havili Talitui, he's in there. So it's pretty cool because they are full-on locals. Like, Folau played for the Tongan under 17s maybe before he went to Hastings Boys, so they all, it's like they're going home. Yeah, how good was, though, the Highlanders? I got to give it to the Highlanders. They must have taken about 20 extra suitcases of merch and just basically flooded the crowd with Highlanders merch. Yeah. And there was a guy doing a backflip into a puddle in a Highlanders shirt and then chahooing off the top of the fence. Then they'd cut to the embankment and it's just all local Tongans in Highlanders kit. Well, I reckon that could be Folau just feeding the backs in earlier years because that's exactly what would happen, I'd say. Because I looked at them and a couple of them were Otago shirts and then there was a little bit of Highlanders. Yeah, you're right. You can tell who's got relations playing Super Rugby, because I'm sure on any other given day there'd be all of Tongan Thor's family would be wearing Reds gear and Reds and Rebels and Wallabies stuff. But the rain was incredible. The jumping in the puddles, the sliding in the puddles, the schools basically performing songs all the way throughout. The slightly dominating ground announcer that was pretty much doing a run of play of everything. Because, I think they got the old school tannoy over there, and I think the tannoy was blasting straight into Sky's ground effects, which meant you got a full commentary from the PA guy. Yeah. So that was interesting as well. It's a bit of a shitter that it happened during torrential rain. It was proper monsoon rain. You could see the flooding outside. I did like how the flooding, like you could just see cars just parked wherever. I think they should do that for Auckland games as well. Just say, look, just a free for all, on the day. Get in there. Mount Smart, just park wherever you can. So despite all the wet, the rugby was actually pretty good. They did really well, and the surface looked mint. So they've done up that stadium, and it's a pretty important stadium because if you've ever seen videos of Tongan qualifying games, they play out. They've only just started playing there again. That's where George Myler got done for the spear tackle. That was a joke. And then they have the one of the famous videos is the Tongan Athletics Day, the Sports Day. It's incredible. Like the Tannoy guy's back, and everything is just like so much noise and excitement and dancing and singing and the whole sort of thing, and the athletics is legit. They go hard out, and it's you think about our top athletes who've come out of New Zealand. Valerie Adams, pretty good. You can imagine Jonah Lomu, not bad. Exactly. Pretty good athletes, and so it's Schools Athletics Day. That's something to behold. Next blowout, Canes Tars. They're 41-12. As you mentioned, we called that on the Friday night. We knew within 10 minutes that this was going to be one-sided. The Canes absolutely dominated the New South Wales Retards. No surprises there, but had to do the job, didn't they? And TJ Perennium becomes the highest try scorer in Super Rugby history. Yeah, it's a great one for the Gooch. He came in there with level pegging with Julian Savia. Pegging? He was pegging. You don't want to peg Julian Savia. He was pegging and... Yeah. Level pegged. Yeah, they pegged each other. Okay. For most of the season. Yeah. And then the bus, he didn't score over in Tonga, but TJ Perennium, just from 1 metre out, just dotting down on full time as well, I think. Yes, it was. Right on the buzzer. So that takes him up on the leaderboard. If you think of great try scorers of Super Rugby, and this is no disrespect to TJ Perennium, who I think is one of the great players in Super Rugby. Yeah. In some ways, or in a lot of ways, better as a Super Rugby player. A bit like Liam Messam is our greatest chief. He's not our greatest All Black. Yeah. because we've got Brodie Retallick and Sam Cane and all that sort of stuff, and Sitiveni Sivivatu, but there's no doubt in my mind that Liam Messam is our greatest chief.
Yeah, I get you.
And I feel like TJ Perenara must be up there as well as greatest Hurricane, or in that conversation.
Yeah, because you always think it's the likes of Christian Cullen or someone like that, don't you? Or Sivivatu, but he kind of cut his career short a little bit.
Yeah, well, he won a title, which is so Perenara's won the big one.
Yep.
He's played so many games. I'd love to see his win-loss record. I think it'll be pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
And Cullen, of course, and Umanga, Nonu, far out. So the Mount Rushmore and the Hurricanes is pretty bloody strong.
Yeah.
But I'd be squeezing Pitanium up there.
Of course you would.
I would. I'd say get the gooch on the mountain, because if you're overtaking people like, you think about our childhood, Joe Roth, Jonah Lomu,
Dougie Howlett,
Sitiveni, all those guys just scoring tries for fun.
Yeah.
And there's TJ just sniping around.
It's going to be a great trivia question in about 10 years' time. If he can hold on to this mantle for a while, people will be like, TJ Perenara, really? In like 10 years' time. Not now, because everyone obviously knows, but down the way, if he can hold on to that title.
Well, Severed Piece is chasing him down.
Oh, yeah.
Severed Piece and Perineum together can lead to absolute disaster, destruction.
He knows how to find the try line, doesn't he, Severed Piece? Oh, man.
He scored another one at the weekend. So Severed Piece is on track. I think the Canes have shown that they are totally still legit title favourites in my mind. I think there's a few things that have changed for them. They don't have much experience. So they've only got Panty Shields or Brooke Shields coming off, who's hasn't been playing a lot, but then they've got TJ Perenara as their two experienced players. But the rest of them are sort of working it out, and that's what you kind of like about them, is that they've found their perfect spot. Like Ruben Love is probably going to make the All Blacks, right? And I think the proctologist, Billy Proctor, is not far off either. Well,
especially if Ioane, which we get to that, because he got knocked the F out.
Let's go to that then.
Yeah, so the Blues played the Rebels 38-11, kind of a blowout, I guess. But it was an old school knockout. It was a tackle. I think he just mistimed it, and his head hit the hip of the player, and his eyes were like full, like dilated, and his arms were quite straight, and they sat him up. Did you watch that?
Yeah, that was.
They sat him up, and he was like, "Oh God, let's lie him down again." He'd obviously taken quite a heavy knock to the head.
Yeah.
He's out. He's standing down for a concussion protocol, so he's out for 12 days.
Well, you know that when it doesn't look like him, that it's a bad sign.
Totally.
You know, because it's kind of like when one of those aliens in Men in Black starts to come out of their human face or their shell, and you go, that's not the same person.
Yeah.
Or like how in the morning my iPhone will never open when I look at it and stuff, and I go, what does my face look like in the morning that my iPhone isn't even recognizing me?
Even your iPhone hates you.
Yeah, exactly. My iPhone's going, fuck off, cunt. And so I'm like, okay, we'll try I hold it to an old photo of me. Remember this guy?
You go up to the mantelpiece.
Yeah. Look, there we go. I have a photo of my dad.
And then it opens. There you go. Now I know the truth, iPhone.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that was the case with Rico. His iPhone would not have opened.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely not. So they played away over there in Melbourne. So that was a potential banana skin, because the Rebels are mid-table. So a potential banana skin that Blues avoided 38-11. And then, of course, we commentated the Chiefs Mono versus the Force 56-7 back in FML Stadium in Kirikiriroa. And again, in the first 15 minutes, we knew what was going on. Narawa, very lucky to give that try with his foot kind of hanging over the touchline.
Oh, that was dubious, wasn't it?
Yeah, because usually it was almost a vibe thing. Like, that was good. Vibe. I'll give that a try. It's a vibe thing.
Well, it's like everyone had accepted. They sort of talk to each other, and the touchy looks to the ref, and the ref talks to the TMO. And we're going, blowout? Yeah, blowout. Yeah. Blowout. It's a try. Yeah. It's going to be a blowout anyway, so fuck off, Western Force. Western Weakness, you're gone.
Couple of points from the Chiefs blowout. One, D-Mac went off for a bit of a head knock. He's potentially out for this weekend's game against Moana.
Yeah. Rest him.
Yeah, 100%. Totally rest him. But the key concern there is he went off the field after a try was scored, and Amoni Narawa grabbed the ball and the kicking tee, ran to the sideline, placed it up, and attempted the conversion. And I remember on the call we were like, I I don't think I've ever seen a Moni Narawa kick the ball, and we know why.
It was an absolute dog's breakfast, and I congratulate him because he's kind of got big dick energy now after doing that where he got left hanging with the handshake and he stared down the camera.
Yeah, that was
that was awesome. And I think since then he's sort of he would have added a few followers on Instagram and stuff, not Tim Nacky levels, but definitely getting a few more.
Yeah,
and so that gave him the boldness or the confidence to grab the tee and have an absolute shocker. Hooked it. And
Daniel Rona apparently is supposed to be the backup kicker.
He's good. I've seen him practice.
And so Daniel Rona got interviewed post-match, and he was like, what's the story? I believe you're, pretty handy off the tee. And he goes, I didn't even get a chance. And when I found out DMAC was going off, I looked over and McOnie had already teed up the ball and was ready to kick it. So for him to shank it, he said, that's poetic justice.
Yeah.
So it's quite good.
Fair enough, Daniel. Yeah, you will get your chance.
Yeah.
And Daniel Rona, is he the best Mr. Fix-It, the best utility? He's the uterus back that everybody needs.
Got a hat-trick, didn't he?
Yeah, because he's incredible. That was from the wing. He's played centre, second five. I think he's had a run at fullback. Daniel Rona? I think he has. He is so good, Daniel Rona. I think that he's probably the one player that every franchise needs. The guy who just goes, it doesn't matter.
I got it, mate.
I've got it.
Yeah, I can kick goals. I can play wing.
Yeah,
centre.
I'll go in there. Yeah, because everyone else is shitting their pants when a top line guy goes down, and it's a shame for me to say that he's not a top line guy, but. I guess if everybody's fit, maybe he's not in that first 15.
Yeah.
But you're actually happy to see him. He's bring him on.
And speaking of which, great to see Quinn Tupaia. I think he had the most running meters for the Chiefs. Good to see him just running it straight again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was he's an interesting character. He's quite a lot of fun as well, Quinn Tupaia. He got interviewed after the game as well, and I noticed he was showing a bit more of his personality. I think about the first few years of him as a rugby player. The thing I like about Quinn Tupaia, I think I've told you this, is that whenever he gets in trouble, like a yellow card or a penalty, he blushes and he gets kind of like embarrassed almost. And you sort of see it in his face. I've got screenshots of it because it's James Lowe was like that as well. Yeah. Players who sort of get really down on themselves for
self-conscious
letting the team down. Whereas, can you remember Richie McCaw's like, oh, yeah, fuck, solid yellow card, good one. Okay, see you later.
Waste you.
Yeah, exactly.
And just Quinn Tupaia, there was news that Darcy Swain has been signed by the Brumbies.
Oh, fuck.
And anyway, the signing, the Super Rugby put up signed Darcy Swain. The first few comments were awesome. It was like, grub, shithead.
Dirty swine.
Yeah, it was just this all up, just absolutely giving it to him.
And he deserves it because that was one of the worst. There was no, and what annoyed me was those rugby commentators in Australia. They're all really experienced players, right? And they were defending him. I'm like, you do realise what happened there? That's not a clean out. You come around on the other side and just target the guy's leg.
Yeah,
so you're not.
It's
like you're supposed to first of all come from the front. You're not actually supposed to target someone like that.
And the knee as well.
Yeah, the knee.
Put him out of the World Cup.
Put him out of the World Cup. And, massive. It was a shocker. But I thought those Aussie commentators would be a bit tougher on that and just say, someone needs to have a word with them or something. But they're like, oh, look, it just happens in rugby. It's
mate, he's tough. He plays the game. He plays tough. He's a tough character. Likes to niggle.
Yeah.
But no.
But if that happened to one of their top guys, I'm trying to think of a top wallaby these days, but
who's that winger?
Used to be Hooper.
Who's the winger for the Brumbies? Is quite good. Peel? No. What's his name?
Toole.
O'Toole. Peel. Peel O'Toole. Yeah. Hey, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with a preview of this weekend, the TAB Game Day Good Punt. Rightio, this weekend it's Chiefs Mana versus Moana Pacifica. They're playing back home at Go Hard Stadium Friday night. ACC are on the commentary with that, myself and James McOnie, the full Chiefs Mana. That is on iHeartRadio as well. Chiefs should take that one out. Is that going to be a blowout, James, at home?
It's hard to say. Moana, I looked at them, they're actually going quite well this season, but the fact that it is at Go Hard, isn't it?
Yeah, no DMAC. Remember, every time DMAC doesn't play, the kind of structure of the Chiefs tends to fall away a little bit.
Look, I think they'll be okay, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Who we got next? Is it Reds against the Rebels?
Yep. I think they won't.
It's the Reds all the way.
We need to qualify about third, I reckon. I'll be happy with third.
Yeah.
Even second. I don't want to qualify first and play the Crusaders. Anyway.
So Saturday, it's a juicy Saturday, G.
Yes. Oh, absolutely juicy, because the Crusaders versus the Landers. So it's the Battle of the South. It's at 7 o'clock on Saturday. Has that been played? I think that's been played at the Sistema Lunchbox in Dunedin.
It's in the Lunchbox, which is good. Actually quite good for the Crusaders, because, to be honest, I think they wouldn't mind the dry weather.
Are they? Yeah, they
are. The dry pitch
also
conditions.
under a bit of pressure at home as well. That must be hard to play and lose in front of the Crusaders fans as well.
Yeah.
Even though they got behind them, when they were rallying that comeback against the Reds, that's the first time I've seriously heard a Crusaders crowd actually properly get behind their team, because usually they just cheer when they score a try, but they were actually getting in behind them. Yeah. It was kind of, you could feel it. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's good for them. They can cheer them when they're not winning.
I was a bit like that when Hotham made that break and put Severed Piece in with about 4 or 5 minutes to go. I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
So look, I know that we are a couple of Chiefs punishers, but we do have love for the Crusaders.
Yeah, absolutely. So who are you picking there with the Landers Crusaders? Landers playing at home.
I'm going Saders.
Oh yeah,
I'm going Saders to get up, and desperation. I haven't heard what's the latest with Dog Roll, but that would have a big bearing on how I feel about the result. And
the commentary team on that one is going to be interesting, because it's going to be Tony Lyle, who's a huge Landers fan, and Mania Stewart, who's a huge Crusaders fan. So if you want to hear two people going at it like dogs, tune in Sky Sport 9 and iHeartRadio on Saturday night at 7 p.m. for that one. And the TAB Game Day Good Punt, the Good Punt from the Champagne Rugby team. We got $100 bonus cash to chuck on something, and you've got thoughts on that?
Yes, I do. I think that we should go all right wing, all Mike Hosking. Satutu is, although he's not actually in our Game Day Good Punt, I think we should go the right wing for the Chiefs, Amoni Narawa to score. The right wing for the Reds, the Junkyard Dog, Tim Ryan to score. Multi that with the right wing for the Blues, Mark Talea, Princess Talea to score. And then chuck in Severed Piece. I think he's going to score again.
Sweet. So those all 4 wings, anytime try scorer for those 4 games.
Anytime try scorer, we're multiplying them all.
It's not bad. I quite like the fact just for all right wingers. All right wingers to score tries.
They're going to do it. And Severed Piece, because Severed Piece will be given the smelling salts and saying, you're our only hope. Yeah. If we're going to fucking do anything this season, it's up to you, mate. And I think he'll score.
It pretty much is. Doors. And he's rising to it, though, Severed Piece.
Yeah.
Like, you just give him the ball and you know something's going to happen. Head to the TAB website, tadb.co.nz, or download the TAB app to check out all the latest rugby promos and boosted odds. And you want to finish with a bit of Havili before we wrap up this Champagne Rugby podcast?
A bit of love for David Havili, because he went and played first 5 for the Crusaders. He got a kick charge down that led to quite a vital try for the Queensland Reds. And I was feeling so sorry for him, because it's not his normal position, and exit play and never get charged down. You should never happen. But anyway, it did. I still think he's going to be a good first 5, and it's going to take a while. Good things take time, G Lane.
Yep. Hey, look,
cheese.
It's one of these things as well. He's their best player. He's their best player in the back line. What do you do with your best player?
Get him close to the ball.
Correct.
That's the North Shore rugby.
It is.
It's like written on the sort of thing. It's like Buck Shelford, Frano Boddicker. What do you think we did with them, you fucking numbskulls? Number 8 and 10. It's like,
that's it. Your 2 best players. Cullen Grace, you got Havili, and you've got Jimmy Neesham. At halfback.
Yeah, well, but it's. I think Havili's going to be a really good first 5. Just give him a bit of time to get used to it. The thing is, everyone gets their knickers in a twist about how hard first 5 is to play, but really, it's a fun position. I used to play first 5. See, even fat guys can play first 5, but it's also, you don't need a lot of things that you do need out in other positions. Like, you don't need to be fast, you don't need to be tough. You just need to be skillful and make good decisions. If you can sort that, and I guess communicate, right? But if you can sort those things out, you're sweet as. It's actually it's a great spot to play, and I don't think it's a hospital pass, but I always feel bad if they either get a charge down or an intercept, and you go, oh, it's going to cost them a few confidence points there. Yeah. So don't worry, Davey Havili, we believe in you.
Right, that's the Champagne podcast for this week. Thanks to MAXRaft. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week. And tune in this weekend for Chiefs Moana Friday night and Landers Crusaders Saturday night.